Every man and his dog has played Warhammer 40k 8th edition already, except for me. I've had 3 games already. I love it. Time for an Age of 8th discussion. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another week has gone past. There's been a few leaks and bits and pieces on the rules, but I'm not really going to discuss those here today. I want to talk about army lists, making army lists, and also pretty much just an update on me and my situation regarding 8th edition. So let's have a little update. Mini Wargaming, the Dark Artisan, Canhammer, Tabletop Tactics, everyone's got 8th edition back reps up already. So yeah, it seems like everyone, apart from me, has already played Warhammer 40k 8th edition. It's quite interesting to see all the battle reports and stuff that have been up. It's been really awesome. I haven't had an opportunity to do that, and there's several reasons for that. And of course the actual rulebook isn't actually out yet, but it has been floating around. Lots of stores have had it for demo games, etc. And of course there's been quite a number of leaked images for the rulebook, and that's how obviously people are generally playing 8th edition already. They're playing it early basically. Now I do have access to obviously those leaked images, and I could potentially play a game, but I don't really have anyone to play against at the moment. My buddy, I haven't seen him for 2 or 3 weeks just because of circumstances on a Friday where he's been busy or I've been busy or whatever. Plus, I don't necessarily know that he's seen all the leaked rules anyway. So, you know, we don't get much time to like sit down and plan a game. It's like a case of he turns up on the Friday and then we decide to play and then we play. So that's not, I've just not had an opportunity basically to play. Now personally, I like to have the actual rulebook in my hand rather than using the sort of PDFs, etc., or the leaked images. I like to have that book, flick through the book. I can sort of get a visual of everything much easier than having to click from this page to this page and this page and just trying to work out how many points is this, what's this doing, how does that work, and then you're missing a few rules because you don't know where they are, etc. So I think physically having the books worked better, and I think I can really sort of move forward with my army lists in that way. However, I have been looking at the potential of making an army list, and that is what I really want to talk about in this video. So yeah, let's have a look at making army lists. 21 times 10 equals plus 15 times 2 equals plus yeah. So, army lists. Now, as you already know, my first army that I'm going to concentrate on in 8th edition is going to be Necrons, and then I'm going to jump onto the other ones a little bit later. So I'm specifically going to talk about Necrons here. But yeah, obviously this is relevant, really, this discussion, to all the other armies. Now, I think it's fair to say that when a new edition comes out, we all look at our current army lists that we have and try to think or try to adapt them for the current edition. And not necessarily at first, not necessarily your first games, and that certainly isn't something that I'm going to be doing for my first games. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have a smaller game, and I'm going to get a few units on the table and just get a feel for how the game works. But going forward, obviously, the army list that I've already got, I want to try to adapt. Now, in particular, I've got my Flayed one army list, my Super Flanks army list, my Living Tomb army list, my Scarab Swarm army list, or Scarab Farm army list, etc. So I've got quite a number of lists that I want to work on. Specifically though, I've been looking at the Flayed one list. Now, my initial thought was, okay, so 7th edition, my Flayed one list was based upon the Reclamation Legion and also some formations like the Canoptic Harvests. Now, of course, I've been playing this army for quite some time, so back in 6th edition, when there wasn't any formations, you know, I had a different styled list where primarily I would have the 6 squads of Flayed ones, although in those days I was playing 3 squads of 20, and then I was using some fast attack choices like the Wraiths, and also the Scarab Swarms. Now, I maintained the same sort of theme with 7th edition, but then obviously I used the formations, the Canoptic Harvests, because they were better. So basically I've been adapting my list depending on the edition, and I do actually have a video on my Flayed one army, sort of the army evolution as such of that particular list, which I'll link up for you just in case you're interested in watching that. But what I was thinking now, with 7th edition gone and no formations, all gone, was that I was going to have to probably go back to one of my earlier list formats, in particular the one from 6th edition, where I had 3 squads of 20 Flayed ones. Now, RP is different, and at this moment in time, without having played a game, I'm thinking that bigger units are going to be better. Now, playtesting is going to be needed. Potentially units of 10 Flayed ones will still work well, but I'm thinking at this stage probably bigger units, possibly 4 units of 15, depending on the force organisation chart stroke detachment. So that's what I was thinking there, and then I was thinking Wraiths, probably still have a couple of units of Wraiths, maybe some Scarab Swarms. Scarab Swarms are really cheap now, so potentially more Scarab Swarms than Wraiths in the fast attack choice. And then HQ, probably go for Illuminor. He seems pretty decent now for the points, and in that case, of course, Immortals for my troops choice. So I made a little army list, just gathering the points together. The army list consisted basically of Illuminor, 2 squads of Immortals, 3 squads of 20 Flayed ones. Boy, they are expensive now, almost doubled in points. 2 squads of Wraiths and a squad of Scarab Swarms, and that came to 2,500 points. Wow, that's no toys. That's a basic HQ 2 troops, my Flayed ones, 3 fast, and 3 elites basically, and that was it. 2,500 points. How many points? Now, I know everything's obviously more expensive, but that is a massive jump. That's another 500 points on the list, and that doesn't include all the stuff that I was taking before, like the Tomb Blades. And I mean, in the last list I had 2 squads of Warriors and a squad of Immortals. You know, less toys basically, and more points. Now, we knew that was going to happen anyway, but it was quite interesting to see that massive jump. So now my next thing that I had to do was have a look at the battle forged detachments and see what detachment I could use. Now, I went, when I was making this list, without looking at any of those detachments, and I just went for a normal FOC. The FOC, which has been in Warhammer 40k since I started, back in 3rd edition, and probably it was there before that. And guess what? It's not there. There is no standard HQ 2 troops compulsory, and then but you know the standard chart that has disappeared. Now I know we've got, so what is it, 12, something like that, 12 different detachments to choose from, but that list that I made doesn't really fit in any of those detachments. You've got the basic detachment, which is a compulsory troops and a HQ, and yes, you could use 2 of those, but that means I've got to take 2 troops. I haven't really got the points for the list anyway. And then there's another detachment later on in the page where you can have 6 elites, and that only unlocks 2 fast attack, and then I think it's compulsory. I think it was a HQ. I don't think any troops were compulsory in that one. And then the other ones, forgive me, I don't know the names of these, but the other one was where basically you can have 6 fast attack, but again that only leaves 2 units of elites as the sort of choice. So, but both of those, really difficult to get my army list actually in any of those detachments. I know there's more detachments coming, and there are definitely ways around it. I mean, obviously where everything's so expensive, this is sort of irrelevant anyway, because I'm not going to get all of those units in my list anyway, because there's just not enough points unless you're playing massive point games. I'd imagine me and my buddy would probably play 2,000 points. So I'm not going to have enough points for all of the toys anyway. So my thought is probably I'm going to have to drop troops for my Flayed one army, for the themed army that I've got with the Flayed ones. In that way I can then have the detachment which lets me take 2 fast attack and 6 elite choices. So I'll be able to get my Flayed ones in there, I'll be able to get my fast attack in there and adapt it like so. But the key thing that I'm really trying to say in this video is, wow, everything is really different when it comes to list building. And I think in actual fact the day of adapting a list to this new edition is probably gone. I think actually in reality you need to start from scratch. Obviously still list building in the same way. So for example, for my Flayed ones, you know, I've got my criteria that yes, my Flayed one army needs 60 Flayed ones in. I mean, yeah, I could drop the Flayed ones quantity, but my army's not about that. My army is about 60 Flayed ones on the table. And then I'm going to have to start from scratch regarding how I make that list work, what other units I put into the list, and maybe go forward from there. Obviously it's assault based army, so I do want to have assault units in there, but rather than maybe wraiths and scarab swarms, maybe I need to look at other units like Praetorians or Light Guard or, you know, something else. So I think I'm going to start from scratch with my lists. So what I'm going to do is start by playing some fun games, just experimenting with a few units. Like I said previously in another video, I want to have a go at the monolith, big units of warriors. Probably going to start the building blocks of learning the army and the units and the addition. And as I get that experience under my belt, I think it will be then time to have a look at maybe some of those more themed and specific lists that I used to use and adapting them. So I'm not going to go head on and try and get my armies working how they used to work. I'm going to just start from fresh, experiment at first with certain units, and sort of progress from there really. So that's it for today's discussion. A bit shorter than normal, but to be totally honest with you, there's not been enough like chit chat, and we're coming to the end of 7th edition. We're all getting bored of 7th edition. Like I said, everyone's playing 8th edition apart from me. So yeah, just a little chit chat about army lists, like I said. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell button so you keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k. And I'll see you in the next video.